Hi everyone, this video is a short note about Java's math library. If you ever want to look up Java's official documentation for anything, you can search for Java API. API stands for Application Programming Interface. And if you hit the top link here, it will bring you to this page. Here under all classes, these are all of the things that are built into Java. And as you can see, there's about a gazillion of them. So if you hit Control F to search in the page and you search for math, let's click down. So here is math. So this is now the API for the math class. And so what it does is it has a short description at the top, and then it will tell you what all the different methods are. Let me make this larger. So here you can see the ABS for absolute value, A cosine, which is the arc cosine, and so on. So if you ever want to know how something works, you can click on that one and it will jump you down in the page to a description of that method and what the inputs are and what the output is. Sometimes faster than that is searching for just examples that you can use. So here is one of my favorite collections of examples, so you can just kind of skim down and see, okay, so math.absolute value, and it's got a comment that tells you what it's about. Here we've got ceiling and floor and min and max and cosine. And pow is going to be an important one. That's raising something to the power of something else. And square root is going to be an important one for us. And of course, random. So let's do a few quick notes. Let's say we want to find the distance between 2 points with integer coordinates. I don't see why they should be integer. Let's make them double. So let's set up a test example. Double x1, y1, x2, y2. And I'll just give them some values. So from 1, 1 to 10, 10. Turns out I can't type and talk and think at the same time. Okay, so my favorite way of doing this, let's see, the distance formula is the difference in x's squared plus the difference in y's squared, and take the square root. So I'm going to make a dx for the difference in x's, which will be x2 minus x1, and I'm going to make dy for difference in y's. And now, here's something that is wrong. So I could say dx plus dy. This is not actually squaring the numbers. Oh, good. I'm glad it's not letting us do this. So this doesn't square the numbers. In some languages it does, but not Java. So another thing students do is sometimes they'll say math.pow, because if you have math.pow a comma b, that is what you get when you have a raised to the b power. So here I might say dx squared. And here I might say math.pow dy squared. This works, but it's actually quite slow because the way power works, it can work for even non-integer powers. And so it does some very complicated calculations in order to be able to answer that question in general. If you're just squaring a number, by far the fastest thing to do is to just multiply it, dy times dy. And of course, I've got to take the square root of the whole thing. So I'll say math.sqrt of that entire expression. Okay, great. It's not very helpful to have to retype these 3 lines of code every single time you want to find the distance between things. So let's define our own method. I'm going to do Control X to cut this, and I'm going to add a double called result. And I'm going to imagine I have a method called distance where I give it my coordinates, x1, y1, x2, y2. It doesn't exist yet, which is why it says it cannot resolve the method. That means that method doesn't exist yet. So let's create it. I'll hit Alt-Enter. I'll say create the method, enter. Yes, I want it to return a double, and I'm happy with all of those names and inputs. And now I'll go ahead and paste what I just cut, and I'll return results at the end. In fact, there's really no point in saving this answer inside a result variable if all I'm going to do is return it. So maybe what I should do actually is just immediately say return this expression, return the result of that expression. Okay, now that I've got a method, I can run it as many times as I want with whatever inputs I want. So really, I didn't even need to have variables here. I can just say, find me the distance between 1 and 1 and 10 and 10. And if I wanted to see another one, so I could say sout result, and that would print result. But if all I'm doing is like calculating something and printing the result, I don't even need to save it into a variable. I could cut this and then run it straight inside the print statement. And so now if I wanted to just see a bunch of distances, I could cut and paste that a couple of times, and this would calculate the distance from 1, 1 to 10, 10. Then I could calculate the distance from 2, 3 to 5, 6. Let's do a nice right triangle. So I'm going to go from 0, 0 to 3, 4. Something like that. And if I run it, you will see what's happening. Aha. Here are the answers. So when I was going from 0, 0 to 3, 4, the distance is 5 because that's a 3, 4, 5 right triangle, as you might remember from some math class at some point. Cool. Another useful thing to know about is the max function. I can say math.max of two values, like 3 and 10, and it will return whichever one is largest, in this case 10. That seems silly if you're just typing numbers, but if you've had the user input numbers or if you've generated numbers at random, sometimes you want to ask the question which is bigger, and certainly this is a lot faster than saying if let's say our numbers are A and B. If A is bigger than B, then larger equals A, otherwise larger equals B. That's very awkward. Much faster to say larger equals math.max of A and B like that. Okay, I think that's it for the moment. Good